What are the 4 things that I wish I would have known when I first started developing acne as a teenager? These 4 things, had I known them at the time, would have saved me from not only developing severe acne, but would have also saved me from the years I later spent suffering with boils all over my body, from developing crippling digestive problems, severe depression and anxiety, and uncontrollable weight loss. Now, before I get into those 4 things, first let me give you some background. Around age 12, I started to develop acne. The first thing I tried was to use benzoyl peroxide as like a spot treatment. I would use acne washes and astringents and things like that to remove excess oil from my face and keep my skin clean. But after a while of trying these things, my acne kept getting worse. So my mother, being the loving, caring mother that she is, decided to take me to the dermatologist to see if I could get some help. I ended up seeing my dermatologist several times over the next few years. He started by prescribing me several different topical treatments and retinol creams, which really didn't help my skin much at all. He then suggested that we could try treating my acne internally and proposed that we try oral antibiotic therapy. He prescribed me tetracycline, which is a broad spectrum antibiotic. This is where things started to really go wrong. I took tetracycline for the next 3 years continuously. And for the last of those 3 years, my doctor prescribed me a second antibiotic, minocycline, which is yet another broad spectrum antibiotic. After 3 long years, I finally conceded that the antibiotic treatment was not helping, since my acne had only gotten worse over that time. So I asked my doctor if there was anything else I could try, and this is when he recommended Accutane. By the time I had started Accutane, not only had my acne gotten worse, but I'd started to develop boils all over my body as well. Mostly on my back, the back of my neck, and my butt, but I got them everywhere, including my face. Now, I know many people have experienced pretty miraculous results in terms of their acne through the use of the drug Accutane. However, that was not my experience. For me, taking Accutane was a horrific experience, but I'm not going to get into the details on that here in this video. I might make another video on that in the future. But what I will say here is that after taking Accutane, not only had my acne gotten worse, but my boils got worse as well. After I completed my course of Accutane, I stopped taking oral treatments for antibiotics and started focusing more on topicals. This was around the time that Proactive started to become really popular, so I got really into using Proactive for a time. At this time, I assumed that my boils were acne related, so I was using Proactive everywhere on my body. I was using it not only on my face like you're supposed to, but I was using it everywhere that I would get boils, which would be mainly the back of my neck. I would put it all over my back. I would put it on my butt and in my groin. All these really strange and uncomfortable places. When I asked my dermatologist about the boils, he just told me that I needed to keep my skin cleaner. I was already doing a lot to try to keep my skin clean. I was showering twice a day as it was. But because he said that, I decided to start showering 3 times a day. Unsurprisingly, this did not help at all. By the time I had reached my early 20s, my acne had improved slightly, but my boils had gotten much, much worse. I also began to develop severe digestive problems, chronic constipation, crippling gut pain and bloating. My anxiety and depression had gotten worse, and I began to lose weight uncontrollably. I went from being a 180-pound weightlifter at age 23 to a 108-pound bloated skeleton by the time I was 27. Now, I'm happy to say that I'm doing much, much better now. I no longer get boils, I no longer get digestive problems like gut pain, bloating, I'm no longer constipated, I no longer get depressed or anxious, and I don't have trouble keeping weight on anymore. Also, my skin is in the best shape it's ever been, and it's completely acne-free. If you haven't seen my previous video on the probiotic Mutaflor, I recommend checking that out since I go into more detail on how I got better. It's really sad when I think back to these events. Going to my dermatologist, being prescribed all these different treatments, different medications, and being forced to suffer when I didn't have to. If I had known about the 4 things I'm going to tell you about here today when I first started getting acne, not only would I have never developed severe acne, but I would have never had to use any topical treatments, I would have never been prescribed any damaging prescription drugs, and most importantly, I would have never become chronically ill. So let's get into it. The first thing I wish I would have known when I first started getting acne is that acne is not normal. Even teenagers should not be getting acne when they hit puberty. Acne is a sign that something is wrong inside you. Acne has been around for a long time, but it's actually been hypothesized that acne only started with the agricultural revolution. And prior to that, when humans lived mainly as hunter-gatherers, acne almost never occurred. This study looked at the prevalence of acne in westernized societies and compared that to the prevalence of acne in modern hunter-gatherer tribes in different parts of the world. The study authors noted that the prevalence of acne in westernized societies was as high as 95% for adolescents and as high as 54% for adults over the age of 25. Then they observed two groups of modern hunter-gatherers, the Kitavans of Papua New Guinea and the Aceh hunter-gatherers of Paraguay. In both of these groups, they observed that there was no acne present at all, not even among their teenagers. The study authors also cite the work of Otto Schaefer, who was a doctor who worked with the Inuit. He observed that among the Inuit, acne was non-existent prior to them adopting modern lifestyles. But once they began transitioning to a more westernized modern lifestyle, they started to get sick and to develop acne. Then we have the Okinawans. Prior to World War II, Okinawans lived a rural life with none of the trappings of modern industrialized society. Extensive medical questionnaires by US physicians administered to Okinawan physicians revealed that they had no acne to speak of. Now, while there are genetic differences that can lead some people to be more prone to develop acne than others, it's clear that the way we're living nowadays is what's causing us to have acne. I didn't know this when I first started getting acne and assumed that it was a normal part of being a teenager, but I was wrong. The second thing I wish I knew when I first started to develop acne is that topical treatments, things like acne washes, astringents, spot treatments, benzoyl peroxide, retinoid creams, these things do not address the root cause of acne. While these interventions can be useful in helping to treat acne breakouts as they arise, they won't do anything to stop you from continuing to get acne in the future. Not only that, but most of these products are actually toxic to us. They contain chemicals known as xenobiotics, which are unnatural compounds that affect our biology. Every time you put these products onto your skin and they absorb into your skin, you are willingly putting these chemicals directly into your body, where they can accumulate in your body, they can affect the endocrine system, which means your hormones can be affected, and they can lead to the development of other health problems down the line. They may even worsen your acne in the long run. When you do address the root cause of your acne, you can be completely acne-free without ever having to put anything on your face or even wash your face. Now, the third thing I wish I knew when I first started to get acne is that the skin is a reflection of the state of your gut. This is the most important thing I'm going to talk about in this video. If you've heard about the gut-skin axis, then you know that the gut and the skin are intimately connected, and that having a healthy gut is crucial to having healthy skin. In this review on the gut-skin axis, the authors state that cumulative evidence has demonstrated an intimate bidirectional connection between the gut and skin, and numerous studies link gastrointestinal health to skin homeostasis and allostasis. This basically means that having a healthy gut will allow for a state of positive skin health and resilience. The authors go on to state that, though not yet fully explored, the mechanisms by which the intestinal microbiota exert their influence on skin homeostasis appear to be related to the modulatory effect of gut commensals on systemic immunity. Basically, this means that when you have a healthy gut microbiome, the beneficial or good microbes living in your gut will protect you from the pathogenic or bad microbes, and it will help to modulate your immune system in a beneficial way. When you have a state of gut dysbiosis, or an imbalance of the good microbes to the bad microbes in your gut, pathogenic bacteria can take up residence in your gut, causing inflammation of the intestinal lining and causing damage to the tight junction proteins, causing leaky gut. When you have leaky gut, it basically means that you have holes in your intestines, which allow bacteria, endotoxins, and undigested food proteins to pass into your bloodstream. This causes a systemic inflammatory response, leading to things like autoimmune diseases, poor mental health, and, as you might have guessed, skin conditions like acne. There are several things that have proven effective to address dysbiosis and heal the gut, but that does depend on the state of your particular microbiome. Gut dysbiosis in one person may look very different from that of another person, so you may have to do some experimentation to find out what works best for you. Stick around until the end of the video, and I'll go over the best methods that I know of for correcting gut dysbiosis based on the science and my own personal experience. The fourth thing I wish I would have known when I first started to get acne is that your diet plays a huge role. As I mentioned earlier, the health of your gut microbiome is the most important consideration when it comes to the health of your skin. And it turns out that eating a healthy diet is one of the best ways to shift your microbiome into a healthier state. As mentioned in this study on diet and the gut microbiota, diet is a key modifiable factor influencing the composition of the gut microbiota, indicating the potential for therapeutic dietary strategies to manipulate microbial diversity, composition, and stability. And in this study, titled Diet Rapidly and Reproducibly Alters the Gut Microbiome, the researchers showed that dramatic changes in the gut microbiome can be made by putting people on either a plant-based diet or an animal-based diet. If I knew what I know now when I first started to develop acne, I would have been able to heal my acne and avoid all the other health problems I ended up developing. All I would have had to do was change my diet. So, what types of diets work best to encourage a healthy gut microbiome and in turn help your acne? Now, there has been a lot of controversy in the past as to what types of diets are beneficial for people with acne. The historical perspective on this is that diets high in fat and low in fiber make acne worse. There is, however, no evidence that I was able to find that high-fat diets make acne worse, and the jury is still out on fiber. So what does the most up-to-date research say about this? There is some evidence to suggest that high glycemic foods, which mainly means processed sugar, are bad for acne. There is also some evidence that ketogenic diets, diets which are high in fat and low in overall carbohydrates, are beneficial for acne. There's also some evidence that omega-3 fatty acids can be beneficial for acne, so there may be some benefit to consuming fresh fatty fish or consuming a good quality fish oil supplement. That being said, there is no real consensus here, and many diets may work to address acne, since the key lies in addressing gut dysbiosis and rebalancing the gut microbiome. There are many diets that can accomplish that, so you'll need to do some experimentation to figure out which diet works best for you. I think for someone just starting out on this journey, seeking a healthier gut and acne-free skin, the first step is going to be to remove all processed foods from the diet. This means anything with added sugar, preservatives, or additives. Most packaged foods are going to be out of your diet. Switching to a whole foods-based diet alone will probably improve your acne. If you do that and still have acne, then some experimentation is in order. Many people react to grains and dairy, so removing those is probably a good idea. Beyond that, you could try an elimination diet like the Paleo Autoimmune Protocol, or even a carnivore diet to see if that helps to improve your acne. If you look online on social media or websites like meatrx.com, you'll see that many people are experiencing radical relief from leaky gut and other gastrointestinal problems from following a carnivore diet, indicating that their gut microbiomes may be improving. And, as expected, since their microbiomes are improving, many carnivore dieters are finding that their acne and other skin conditions disappear on this diet. No matter what diet you follow, it's very important, especially for people with acne and gut dysbiosis, to make sure you're getting enough nutrients in your diet for healing to take place. This is why I always say that no matter what diet you follow, you should be trying to include liver from grass-fed ruminant animals into your diet, because this is the most nutrient-dense food there is. And it's especially rich in nutrients that are important for skin repair and regrowth. If you'd like more information on diet, I made another video that goes into more detail on this topic as it relates to healing the gut, so go check that out. If you're like I was, then no dietary change will heal the gut. My gut dysbiosis was so severe that diet alone couldn't repair my gut microbiome to a healthy state. And trust me, I tried just about all the different diets out there. The carnivore diet helped, but it didn't solve the problem for me. I should say that I believe a high-fat diet can be a problem for some people, like it was for me. Depending on the state of gut dysbiosis, some people can have problems with endotoxin production when they consume excess fat. For these people, a moderate to lower fat diet is probably a good idea, but only until the gut dysbiosis is corrected. Once the gut dysbiosis is corrected, you should be able to tolerate a higher fat diet. And as a matter of fact, that fat will be good for you, assuming it's coming from good sources. Personally, I eat a very high fat diet these days, rich in saturated animal fats, and have no problems with acne or any other issues. If changing your diet doesn't fix your acne, then some other intervention is going to be needed to help heal your gut. There are several approaches and interventions that have shown promise. These include things like herbal antimicrobials, probiotics, prebiotics, PPAR gamma stimulation, butyrate supplementation, and fecal microbiota transplantation. I plan to make videos on these topics in the future, so stick around for those. For me personally, the probiotic Mutaflor, which is an E. coli probiotic, almost completely healed my gut on its own. Now I never get acne, and my skin is in the best condition it's been in since before I hit puberty. Now, don't just take my word for it. Mutaflor has actually been shown clinically to be effective in treating acne. If you're interested in learning more about Mutaflor, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I made a 2-part video series on the probiotic Mutaflor and how it helped to cure me of my chronic constipation and other gut problems. Another probiotic worth checking out for acne is Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG, which has been shown to be beneficial for treating leaky gut, as well as helping to modulate the immune system. This is sold as a product named Culturelle. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel for future videos on digestive health, the gut microbiome, and other topics related to diet and ancestral health.